Hi guys, welcome to another video from the Brown Car Guy, myself Shazad Sheikh, and today we're going to be looking at what is happening with the UK used car market. Before we do that, make sure that you are subscribing to youtube.com/Brown Car Guy. Make sure you follow me all social media channels. Just search for hashtag Brown Car Guy. You can see it on my hat there, and of course subscribe to browncarguy.com. Cool. What is happening to the UK's used car market? Well, so in the second quarter, sales of used cars in the UK was down by nearly 50%. That's almost half, but actually it was 48.9% compared to this time last year. Only 1 million cars have been sold according to the SMMT, which is the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. Now, having said that, the overall decline for the year is actually not 50%, it's 30%, or rather, more accurately, it's 28.7%. That's 2.9 million cars sold so far this year to this point, compared to last year, which was 4 million cars. Now, the majority of those losses, as you can imagine, because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown, because it was worst in April in the UK, so the majority of that was in April, when there was a 74.2% decline in sales. But that 74.2% quickly went up, if you like, or went down, whichever way you want to look at it, to 17.5% in June, as dealers opened up again and people started buying cars. And as we've always predicted that there was going to be a rush to buy used cars, we've discussed that in several of our past videos, so go check that out. This was confirmed by Ian Plummer, who's the commercial director of Autotrader, and in June they said they recorded 64 million visits. So there was still a lot of people looking even after lockdown, and straight away after that, in July, they hit 64.4 million, which is actually a record for them, and it's 22.7% up on the year before. The sales leads that they generate, actual leads to dealerships, was up by 67%. So yeah, massive jump in interest and in actual buying activity when it comes to used cars. Now again, according to the SMMT, going back to those figures, it's not electric cars, because a lot of people are saying post-lockdown there's going to be a lot more interest, people are going to be interested in electric cars. That's not necessarily what's happening. Electric car sales did not take off. They did grow by 45% earlier in the year, in the first quarter of the year in fact, but they dropped down to 30% for the second quarter. There is interest, but people are really, in these uncertain times and in this uncertain world, they're falling back on what they know rather than trying something new and different. That, I think, is the case at the moment, particularly in the used car market, and that's reflected in the cars that they're buying, which I'll come to in a minute. In terms of the types of cars that people are buying, Superminis sales actually did go down by 52.4%. I'm stumbling over these numbers, 52.4%, but they are still the most important segment, and they account for still nearly a third of the market. Interestingly, luxury saloons declined by only 30%. Remember, I said 52% for Superminis, only 30% for luxury saloons. And hold that thought, I'll come back to that in a minute. Meanwhile, let's just get into colors. Black is the most popular color, followed by silver, blue, gray, and white. Come on, people. Listen, we need more color in our lives. This is the way to lift the spirit of a nation. There's more optimism. There's a different video I've done on this way back, where I've proven through stats and through historical data that there's more optimism in a nation when the cars are multicolored and lighter colors. It helps to lift the national mood, and God knows we need that right now in terms of this, after this pandemic and with the recession that we are now in officially. Of course, new car sales are where that color is going to be driven. I'll come back to new car sales in a bit, but if you're ordering it in a new car, then make sure it's a bright color. Anyway, top 10 used cars, I was going to tell you that. So, Fiesta, Golf, Ford Focus, Vauxhall Corsa, Vauxhall Astra, BMW 3 Series, Mini, Volkswagen Polo, Audi A3, and the Mercedes C-Class. So, just regular cars that most people would have bought. And just to underline how the used car sales have grown, there was another press release from buyacar.co.uk, which is an online car supermarket, and they claimed that they'd had their biggest month in their entire 18-year history in July. And in fact, they also revealed that interest in 4-year-old cars is where it was the highest, and the prices for used cars on average were growing up. And the reason for that, they claim, are because of the higher end and sports cars that people are interested in. Remember, I said hold that thought. So for example, they say in the first 10 days of August, cars such as the sporty Nissan 370Z and the Abarth 124 Spider convertible was snapped up alongside the Mercedes A-Class and the usual cars that we've just mentioned, but also a £51,000 Mercedes E-Class. And of course, these higher end cars are pushing the overall average price of cars up. So now they reckon this is caused by motorists splashing out on a more exciting car than they previously might have done. And why is this happening? So in my previous video on BCG Bulletin, go back to the playlist and you'll see it. I did talk about how, people will be wanting, what type of cars people will be wanting, something with a little bit more personality, a little bit more excitement, because people need to get around, but they still need to express their identity. We're not dead yet, as I said. It's still very important. But one thing that they're saying, I still said that higher end cars might drop in prices, especially with the economic crash and people wanting to be a bit more careful with their money, because higher end cars do tend to lose their value rapidly. But that's mostly happened within the first 3 to 4 years, and I think that's where people are buying them. The candy buyers are picking them up at 4+ years old, so getting themselves something very cool and stylish and premium, but not having to pay for the initial depreciation that's in the used market. Even though it's going to cost them more in terms of running costs and insurance, let's be honest. Christopher Lloyd, editor of Buyacar, so he thinks that it may be that some of the money that drivers inevitably save during lockdown, people that are better positioned than I am, anyway, people that are able to work, because some people did spend money, save money by not going out and doing stuff and not going on holidays, and they're thinking, well, put that towards more entertaining cars. That's what he reckons, and I think he might have a point when it comes to that. So would you do that? Would you spend more on your next car with, in light of everything that's happened? If you're looking at a bank balance that maybe is a little bit more healthy than you thought. Anyway, the coxautomotive sentiment survey reveals that dealers are experiencing a buoyant market overall since lockdown restrictions lifted, and are optimistic that demand will continue. I quote, many retailers are reporting that they are pleasantly surprised with the market's performance and experiencing similar demand for both new and used cars to that seen pre-pandemic. So the mention of new cars there is quite interesting, and that's promising, because at the end of the day, your used market, the only trouble it's having is a shortage of stock, because they're running out of cars, even though they've sold 1 million less than they would have otherwise. But anyway, somehow that's happening. And so those people that are now being tempted to splurge on a newer car because, hey, what the heck, you never know what's going to happen, does mean that we are maybe looking forward to a decent September, which is traditionally when people will buy new cars because of the plate change, which should replenish the used market with quality trade-ins, which should therefore keep that used market buoyant and prices quite high. So I predict that used car prices and used car market is going to continue to do well for some time. A lot of people thought there would be a fall off, but I think it may be another month or so, 2 months maybe, before anything like that happens. The fact is, the stats show that traffic has increased, but use of public transport has not. It's still way down, so that means people would prefer to use their own cars. So I do find that very interesting that people are going for luxury and sports cars. I guess one of the things the pandemic has taught us that there are no guarantees in life, and maybe people are thinking, hey, let's just get a cool car and enjoy it whilst we still can. What do you think? I want to know what you think. Put your thoughts in the comments above below elsewhere, and whilst you're doing that, make sure you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Follow me on all social media channels, search for #browncarguy, and of course subscribe to browncarguy.com. If you enjoy these videos, think about supporting me on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh, and there you'll find some exclusive content and maybe some goodies like maybe this hat. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one.